Claude Sonnet 4 with 1 million token context window is now officially supported inside of Cursor, and this workflow is incredibly fast. And I'm really excited to show you because we're about to be dealing with a million. That's right, 1 million token context window. And this is going to be an incredible stream where we're just going to go ahead and walk through what does this actually look like when you're using it inside Cursor. Right now, if you're trying to use it with Claude, you can only use it if you're an API user at the tier 4 level. And then if you're paying $200 a month to the max plan, I'm currently paying that and I currently don't have access to it inside of Claude Code. They're currently rolling that out to a select few groups of people. And I imagine as they ramp up this whole thing, they'll be able to do that. But today, we're going to actually be able to use that inside of Cursor. So to get that configured, all you have to do is just go into your settings up here inside of Cursor and you just type in Sonnet. S-O-N-N-E-T. And then once you'll see that here, we're going to see the new model called Claude 4 Sonnet 1 million. So there's two models that are currently available. I'm going to enable both of them. One of them is without thinking and the other one has a little brain there, and that means thinking. And so this is only available into the max mode only. So that's 1 million token context window as you see there. And this is the thinking model. And so the thinking model from Claude Sonnet outperforms the Opus 4 model without thinking. And so if we're getting this really high level of intelligence with a large context window with 1 million tokens, we're going to have like the most premier experience ever here. And there's some cool updates in Cursor that we're going to go ahead and explore to show you that. So to kick this off, I'm going to kick off this massive plan that I had generated using Claude Opus. So yes, I use Claude Opus as well. I use any model that's going to help me get the most intelligence from my apps and my performance. So this extensive plan I'm going to show you is going to be implemented by Cursor. Let's go ahead and just kind of get this going on here. So I had this plan implemented and I'm just going to start a new chat. And so what this plan is going to go ahead and do is going to basically insert an editor into our app so that we can go ahead and start cooking with this. And so this is going to be massive. All right, so I'm going to grab this plan and put it in here. And we're going to see this whole window here. And we're currently, let's go ahead and select the right model that we need to select. So the model that we need to select now in the dropdown is going to be that Claude Sonnet 1 million. I don't know about you, but I feel like a millionaire just selecting this model on the dropdown. It's like, yo, we're about to start dancing. It's about to be real funny. Exactly, Marma, 1 million. That's right, 1 milli, a milli. Let's cook, family. This is about to be so crazy. All right, so we're going to see this whole thing live in effect. Okay, so now that we have this plan, we're feeding it in the plan to the agent, and I'll tell you a little bit more details about this plan. Let's go ahead and start with the implementation for this plan. And just going to go ahead and let it do its thing. Oh, and I'm going to give it the actual rules. So I have a rules file that should automatically pull, but I'm just going to make sure it does. So generate cursor. Whoops, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do / and then you can select, you can generate cursor rules. You can do all these things. But if I do the @ and then go down to where it says rules, now I can select the rules files that I want, hit enter, and then select the convex rules because I have some convex rules that I want to be generated as well. And then I also have some other rules for design. So go to rules and I go to design. So what's going to be really fun here is if I throw the entire kitchen sink, will Cursor and Claude Sonnet be able to think through all these different things and then chunk out my plan and kind of keep going with it? So this is going to be our test here, and we're going to see what happens and how many tokens it generates with the first step there. So this is just going to be my stress test, and I'm doing this for y'all because I love y'all. This is going to be really fun. All right, so this is a pretty sweet implementation, and I'll go over that for a little bit more details. So now that we hit go, we're letting Cursor basically start doing its cooking. It's fine dining, fine mining. So it's going to be basically planning the moves, and according to my plan that's here, so I'll help you implement the transcript editor system according to the comprehensive plan you've outlined. So now it's basically set up its own to-dos here, and it's going to basically take a look. And I've actually implemented the plan in phases so that AI agents can take these chunks in phases and implement them. And so that's like the cheat code if you don't know. And so the cheat code is to tell it whenever you're generating your big plans, is to just do it in phases so that the AI agent can go step by step. And we're just going to see Cursor just fly through this entire thing much faster than it would if it was using Claude Code. And because we have the million token context window, we can actually start monitoring down below by hovering your mouse over this little icon down below. See this little thing, it says 7.9%. We can see the context window being updated in real time. So that's grabbing files, that's grabbing everything that it does in the context to build that its requests, and including the code output and other things. I think it gets rid of caching and other types of things, but we're going to just keep learning as we go here. And so basically you're tuned in. We're currently watching Cursor cook and fly with 1 million token context window and implement a pretty large feature for me. And so this feature is pretty well defined in my plan here that I had generated with Claude Opus earlier. And now it's just flying through step by step. So it made its own internal to-dos. As you can kind of see there in Cursor, it's installed the packages using Bun, which is my preferred package manager, and it's reading through that. And now it's kind of just following up. And so let's just take a look and kind of break down some of these requests while it's still going, by the way. So if we click this here, it says there's 2 of 5 to-dos here. Phase 1 is to create the, install the required packages. Then it's going to create a transcript editor, and then it's going to implement the viewer and the components. So what's really nice about the plan and what Opus was able to do was able to lay out this really nice component hierarchy for me. And in this component hierarchy, basically says, here's how your stuff should be laid out for your different concerns. Here's the hooks, and here's the plugins that we're going to go ahead and do so that we can edit this. So big shout outs to Aqua Wolf, who's the one who requested this whole feature. Yes, I'm dropping the money bags, but that's for you, boy, because you signed up for my app and you're the real MVP at Ray Transcribes. And this is your request for the feature. And I just said, why don't we just one-shot it with Claude Sonnet 1 million, right? I mean, we got this right here. So Hitesh says 1 million context will change the game. I'm really hoping so. And we're just seeing it fly right now like an eagle. And this is basically it. Like, this is the executive summary real quick of what it's going to do. This is the core requirements. And here's the technical documents. Here's the technology stack that it's going to go ahead and do. And so Meta actually uses this framework called Lexical. And I actually did some research to figure out what specific framework can I use for, editing files and stuff with React. And since this is battle tested and the last update was like 2 days ago in Git, I was like, this actual library is legit. It found my existing plan, like with Convex and ShadCN UI, Clerk and Tailwind CSS, and it just implement this architecture. Here's the database schema that we're going to do for this. Here's the actual phases. Basically, in phase 1, we're going to do the core editor infrastructure. And then here's the base editor implementation. And it's basically just going through chunk by chunk, and it's going to verify each step. And so when I had this plan generated using Claude Code, actually, yes, I'm still using Claude Code because I have access to Opus. And I prefer the Opus model right now for the planning because it's so extremely good at like thinking through a lot more details. It only has 200,000 token context window. So sometimes I have to dump the research out into a file, into a markdown file, and then put that file in again to start some more research. So I've been playing around with the million token context window to generate plans along with Opus back and forth. And it's kind of doing this really cool loop where I'm basically using the large context window to dump research into specific markdown files. This is something that Manus actually does when they're doing their own plans. They kick off like 100 agents. Each agent is writing to markdown files with folders. Each folder is kind of basically a category. Later on, it will start to pull those markdown files for specific tasks that it needs to do to reference in the future. I'm having basically to do this by hand and manually, but this is something really fun. The bigger part of everything here is the fact that we generate this massive plan that's chunked out. So the specific instructions, I said, make sure you chunk out this plan into multiple steps so that an engineer or an AI agent can take this plan and start implementing them and verify at each single phase that we've implemented it correctly. So that's basically, it arranged all of the actual implementation details by verifiable steps so that basically, that's what Claude Code is doing. That's what all these tools are doing with agents. As soon as they implement the code, they have a verifiable step before they do the next tool call. And they're also doing extended thinking on that too. So they try to look back into their history and see what they've done here. So as we're seeing, just in this like one prompt, it's still cooking, by the way. It's literally still cooking, and we've only used 103,000 tokens. That's 10% of the 1 million token context window. And we're still flying, ladies and gentlemen. This is crazy, and it's happening right here in Cursor. Cursor is like literally my favorite IDE and favorite editor. I love Cursor so much, and I'm so glad that they're able to introduce this. And seriously, it's like making me go back to Cursor full time as far as the agent, because the agent's now got this extended capability. And yes, I've also paid for the Cursor Ultra. So Cursor Ultra gives you basically $400 in credits. So you're probably wondering, like, Ray, what does this actually cost to do all of this stuff? Well, as of now, we've only used 107 tokens. So you're just paying the normal cost for using Claude Sonnet 4 model. As soon as you pass the threshold, I believe it's like over 200,000 tokens, then you pay a bigger cost. So yeah, over 200,000 tokens, the input's going to be $6 instead of $3, and the output's going to be $22 instead of $15. And so that's kind of what we're looking at from here as far as a million token context window. And in Cursor itself for the pricing, if we go to like the API prices, I don't think they do have the max mode. It's available at 1 million. Here's the capabilities, but I don't know if they actually show the pricing table. They actually push us over to the pricing table from Anthropic. So that's kind of what we were looking at earlier. They do show the model here that it does support it and has the capabilities for it. And we're just basically kind of doing its own thing. This may actually be done with implementing the features. It just went ahead and implemented phase 2. Oh my goodness. So I have no clue if this is even going to work, how it looks like. We've just totally just YOLO'd this whole thing. So let me catch up with the chat a little bit. So this is what's up. Fast tracking on 3 commas. That's what I'm saying right now. This is what we're about to do. 3 commas, $1 billion club, baby. Let's go. I need to sell my liver so I can afford Claude Max. That's the definite feels for sure. I wonder how well this combats the context rot for 1 million. Should be enough to remember, but we'll see. So in that study from ChromaDB, they said basically right around that 50% mark is kind of my limit. So this should be able to eat up 500,000 token context window like a champ. All of this context, needles and stuff like that. I don't have too many distractors. My plans are very well defined. So we're about to see what's up. This is a cool watching feat requested and get cooked up live. Bro, I'm telling you, literally you requested it like today on the Discord. I'm already getting it in right now. If we turn pro mode on Cursor, does it eat up more tokens? Pro mode, I think max mode definitely costs more because you're using more token window. I love the step-by-step approach to planning. Yeah, that's definitely the thing that we have to do now. So it's basically running the build and fixing linting errors, I think, step by step. I have no clue what we're doing in the code because I've been vibing so hard just trying to talk to y'all and catch up. So let's just kind of move my head a little bit to the side and kind of start inspecting some of the code. I'm just really curious to see how it did its implementation details. So I'm just going to quickly skim through what we've done so far. So in the page, what have we done? We introduced all of the transcription editor stuff so that when you go to a specific transcript, you can see the IDs, and this is pulling it into autosave hook. Sweet. So this should be able to edit the file and then autosave as well using some debounce stuff. Sick. Let's go. Okay. And then now we have a toolbar. Hell yeah. Download actions. So this is part of the whole class that we're using for that lexical editor. And so I think, is it in here? It should be in here somewhere. It's probably put into one of my components. And then we're basically now calling a transcript toolbar and then passing in these specific things into our toolbar. So if I option click this, this should take me to this now new component that it created. And it has all the code in here. Boy, it's still cooking. And we're only at 12%. This is amazing. This is so amazing. Wow, we're really just flying with this whole implementation. This is a massive feature, by the way, just to I've put it off implementing this feature because I knew it was just going to be super massive. But now I'm super confident with this 1 million token context window for 1, debugging, 2, looking through code like this at this massive window and this overhead. It just kind of gives me a lot more breathing room. And so why am I not using Claude Code? It's currently not available for me in my current Claude Code plan. Even if I set the model manually inside of my own version of Claude Code, it says I don't have access to it. It says the feature is not available for my account. I'm paying $200 a month, Claude. If you need to hook it up because we could have been doing a live stream on you, but nah, that's all on you, baby. All right. So, by the way, none of these companies pay me for any of this type of stuff. I'm actually trying to implement features in my own apps, and I'm not trying to sell you any courses or anything. I do have a Discord community that is really popping off. If you want to go ahead and join that, I have a link in the description, but it's rfer.me/Discord if you want to join on that. That's really where it's popping off. https://rfer.me/Discord. So that way you can kind of get up in that. The prices will double at 200 members. So we're almost there. And it's currently $14.99 to get in. And so the other folks who got in at $6.99, you were my first 100. You guys were amazing. Believed in the whole thing. So yeah, we're just going to keep going up until we get to the 3 comma club, baby. Let's go. That's what we're trying to do here. All right. So it basically implemented the whole feature, and it's probably been testing the build along the way. And what's shocking to me is how little tokens it actually used to implement that whole thing. That's 126,000 tokens. I could have probably got away with this without the million token context model, but I feel with this large enough overhead and the extended thinking, right? By the way, every extended thinking tool call and stuff really kind of just let it rip. So right now we need to verify that the find and replace functionality works and all these different things. So I'm really excited. We've just literally one-shotted this whole thing for real. Damn, let's go. Let's go. Oh my goodness. Look at all these. Like, it's not that, I mean, I guess, wow. This is so good. We have the autosave. Look at this code. So it's going to debounce every like 5 seconds for the max wait. And then it's normally going to be 1 second. So you can go offline with this. This is gorgeous. This code is stunning. Okay. Look at this interface. Oh my goodness. Let's go to the editor. Oh, wow. Look at these. That's hot. This is hot. Oh man. Are we ready for this, fam chat? Let's light it up on the chat. What feature is this? We're basically inserting an editor into my transcripts. So what I have for now, let's go ahead and just kind of fire this up and kind of get it going. So bun x convex dev. I don't want to deploy this yet to production. So let me move my head out of the way a little bit. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then I do command this way and I do bun dev. That way I run the different terminal windows. So yeah, we should be able to really cook here on stream. And let's see what's happening. I mean, yeah. Let's see. Okay, so if I go into here, I have no clue. I've never seen this. We're both all seeing this feature live right now. Whoa. So I can edit the transcript now. So I'll show you what this looks like normally in production. So app.ray transcribes. So for those who don't know, if I go to like a previous transcription, I could see my whole live stream, but I can't edit this file. I have to download the text files and then like use my own text editor to do that. And so one of my members who's, his name is Aquawolf, he actually is a paying subscriber to my app. He actually said, hey, I would love to just not use, I want to download the file when it's finally done. I want to edit inside of your app. I was like, yeah, it's going to take forever to implement, but let me just finally do it. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. So this is basically now the one that's currently on localhost. This is what it basically one-shotted in one whole thing. So if we go to edit transcript, we're going to go into this like edit mode. Oh, we got to crash. We got to crash. What do we do? 911? 911, we got to crash. Oh, the database is freaking out. It's freaking out hard. I don't know why. Let's see. Okay. So convex is saying like something happened. All right. So when I hit edit, I think, let's see, bunx, convex, dev. I want to debug this because there's an issue here. It kind of like almost started working, but I think what it was doing is when it was saving the file into the convex database, that's kind of where it freaked out because it probably doesn't have everything it needs on the convex side to make sure that it can save the file when it's doing that debounce like little script here. So if I refresh this whole thing here, it's probably going to freak out. Let me see if I can pull up the console. Yeah. Revisit page. Okay. So I'm pulling up my web inspector. Okay. So I think it's erroring out. So literal access denied, unauthenticated. Okay, there's something going on with the implementation. So I want to give it this. So success true. Okay. So I did the implementation, but now when I hit edit transcript and then let me give it the path. I think it's like at page, and then I'm going to go to transcript ID. The app crashes right after 1 second, and it looks like there's an error on the convex side. So I'll need to have you dig in here. And so one of the things that I can do is maybe duplicate this chat so that I can do some debugging. So I'll keep the context of the entire implementation because maybe like I shouldn't, but I kind of want to, you know? Another thing I could possibly do to kind of save on the context window is, so here's the thing. I'm thinking in the old paradigm of I only have 200,000 token context window, right? So in the old paradigm, since I've already used like 200,000 tokens, I have to clear out the chat. But today, we have a 1 million token context window on literally the best coding model in the world out today. And so what if we duplicate this chat and then continue the debugging there? Because we still have like 90% plus of the context window available for us. Even if we do hit that 500,000 token context window, I'm pretty confident we should still be able to cook. So why not me take the hit instead of you paying all this money, and we'll see how actually useful it is, right? I mean, that's what this live stream's here for. We're watching live. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and cook, fam. All right, so let me go ahead and just paste this in here. Let me copy, and then let me just duplicate this chat. So I'm gonna hit duplicate. So now we're in the duplicated chat, and this has a little thing up here, and then it has all this context from all of our other chats, and we still have this thing that's used up. I need you to dig in here. And so I'm just gonna let the agent do its thing. And so it's doing its thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit stage to stage all of the commits. So that way I don't lose anything. So just that way I can see all the diffs and see what it's actually fixing / changing. And then if something happens, we can kind of like revert or undo those changes as well. So now that's basically going to start to dig through the app and help us and see what's going on. So convex FN client or args mismatch in the schema. That's possibly it. Had similar error recently, maybe JSON HTML difference. No, I think it's literally just an implementation detail that it forgot about and it needs to add or do another field to account for it. I like this mindset. It makes sense. I'm actually kind of experimenting here, Aquawolf. Like, I don't know, and I have to be an engineer and be very curious. What is this to do? Well, this came out of nowhere. So this says implement a save. Oh, you know what? By the way, there's more phases to my plan, and it's currently not yet implemented. I totally forgot about this. So this is only phase 1 and 2. It's possible that we have not continued to implement the rest of the phases of the plan. And that's probably why it's freaking out, right? I think we've only done either 1, 2, or 3. There's like many more phases. And so I told it to make sure that we can stop and kind of review the changes as we go. So as of now, we have the user interface, but I want to kind of click around and do some more things. I forgot to tell you that. Of course, I got too carried away with the all the flying on the screen and everything and like the agents doing everything, but that happens. I'm excitable. I love this stuff. This is so cool. So yeah, smash that thumbs up if you're like all about it right now. So yeah, that's what's up. All right. So let me just go ahead and see what's going on here. I see the issue that when you click edit transcript, the autosave hook is immediately enabled with an invalid transcript job. And here are the main issues: the invalid ID, when it becomes the premature autosave, the incorrect, let me fix this issue. So I think I might just reject it and say, I forgot that I'm only partially through the plan. Is the implementation in the rest of the plan, or do we need to fix this bug now? I think that's kind of where we need to understand where we're at. And when you're developing software, especially in my experience, I just want to give you a little story here, is that one of the most common things in these bigger companies is that to have like, when you check in code, especially into like the main branch, you want to start testing it in the build every single day, even if the feature is partially complete, because you can't wait till the feature is completely done in order for you to actually start testing everything. So you need to have something testable as soon as possible. And that's why it's really important to kind of chunk out your features into these smaller segments, integrate them, and kind of add to them slowly. It does require more thinking up front. It does require more architecture planning up front so that when you start to land the features, you can have some testable components. And that way your QA teams can start running through the software, or you as your own solo engineer can start testing these things and make sure that they work. So, I mean, the fact that we're able to get a nice UI that's usable, hit the edit button, do some other types of explorations is going to be really interesting here. But I do want it to be testable. Like, I want to actually do these types of things where maybe I can edit a file, but I can't do this other thing like finding and editing multiple, of the same document. But at least I can edit the file and I can save it to the database. Maybe that's the bare minimum requirements here. I'm imposing this on myself, but you should start thinking about shipping your features this way so that way you don't have too much bloat. And it kind of helps you refine things with the language model so that you can kind of keep things really tight, very testable. And then you could even add unit tests if you want to after that. I'm not really that familiar with doing unit testing on these types of web frameworks, but I'm going to learn as I go, and you're basically stumbling along with me. So let's cook with this. I'm going to say, okay, so I'm going to say, I want you to review, and let me find this plan file because I have this plan here. I think it's like let's see, in my documentation, I have a plan file, which is the one that I originally dragged in. I just need to find it here. I want you to review the plan and see if this is something that still needs to be implemented per the progress. We just did a lot of implementation earlier. Okay. And so I'm just going to go ahead and feed that into Cursor. I think it's going to basically automatically decline that for us because in Cursor, you can actually submit multiple requests, and it was just waiting for our input to continue forward. So now it's going to just re-review the plan, and it's going to look through all the phases. It's actually, you can see it in the stinking windows. It's like doing the check mark thing. And so far, we've only used 14.9 or 149,000 tokens. So you can basically think about 15% as 150,000 tokens and so forth on up. So let's see. So yeah, it basically says not implemented. So the implementation status review. So not implemented are phases 3 through 5. So there's still 60% of my plan that's still not been implemented, and the immediate issue to fix. So the app crashes when clicking the edit. This is blocking further development and needs to be fixed first. So the root cause is the autosave hook is receiving an invalid ID, empty string when the model mode starts. So this is the fix, and this is the recommendation. And I think this is a really good bug fix, especially at the phase that we're in developing our features. And we should actually have like a minimum testable feature, especially after this implementation. So if I could just go back to my app, I should just be able to go back home and just see all the transcripts and kind of show you the UI again. So for those who aren't familiar, Ray Transcribes is basically the app that I make so that you can get discovered like the big channels. And the whole point of that is so that you can actually have your transcripts uploaded to YouTube and you can actually start getting ranked. My content is now being ranked and being delivered via ChatGPT, and it's just like the probably biggest cheat code that's ever happened. And I'm super hyped to kind of tell you more about that. So let's go ahead and just kind of get this app restarted, and let's see if I can kind of show you here. I kind of want to play more with the UI, to be honest, but let's fix the bug because I think that's what's the problem. The functions are ready. My app is not ready though. So let's see, localhost 3000. There's a page. Yes. Okay. All right. So it's freaking out. It's rebuilding the page. And then let me just kind of get rid of this. There's something going on with my Safari, I guess. Let's see, localhost 3000. Okay, here we are. All right. So if I go here and select the previous transcript, it's going to probably crash out because of the bug. Yes, this is the bug. All right. So we should probably fix that. Okay. So the recommendation, yes, let's go ahead and fix the crash bug because now it's come to the point where if I view any transcript, it just keeps crashing out. Cool. Let's go ahead and see if I can fix it now. And there we are. All right, cool. So that's what's going on. So JK Software, AutoMod hates me today, blocked my message at least. Oh, what happened, JK Software? Please let me know what's going on. I think you were probably trying to send a message. Sorry, I just jumped on the screen. How do I activate this 1 million token? Mine's showing 200K. If I'm an Ultra user. So I'm an Ultra user as well. In order to get to it, you just hit this little gear at the top. If you scroll to where it says models, this is where you activate it. And here you're going to hit Sonnet. And then as soon as you hit Sonnet, you'll see that 1 milli, 1 milli, a milli, a milli. And you're going to see that in max only. So only in max only. And the thinking one is the one you want, the one that I'm using with the little brain icon, because you're going to get the like most intelligence from that. Obviously, it's going to cost you more money because whenever you have over 200,000 token context window, which we're about to cross very soon, the pricing from that is going to start showing up at $6 per million tokens. And you're going to have 22.5 for a million output. So that's once we cross that 200,000 threshold, which is about to hit that in the next 5% or so. So right now it's basically trying to edit and write some changes to our file and says basically, you're right. Of course, it doesn't say I'm right. Absolutely right. It just says I'm right. It's a critical bug that's blocking basic functionality. And so now it's going to fix that bug. And let's just go ahead and see what it did. Okay, so now it's passing in the string or null. Okay, that makes sense. And what else is it doing here? If not enabled, autosave is disabled. Okay, so it's kind of accounting for a state and then invalid IDs. Okay, let me go ahead and say accept. Oh, I see. Because the other chat window has the editor, like because I duplicated the chat and it's still active, it thinks it still has to give me a permission to do that, which is pretty cool. And so, all right, dang, we're totally flying here. Okay, let's see where we're at now. Ray, explain why 1 million token contexts are better for single shotting projects from a large MD file. What's the point if are iterating through errors and features without a large MD? Could you explain? So the whole point for me is the extra runway to keep going in one conversation, right? I'm implementing one feature and typically I have to give it to multiple agents, and multiple agents aren't aware of all the different context stuff that's going on. So what I would have to do typically is create a new file to say, hey, as you're working on this plan, go ahead and write out the changes and keep just a high level implementation detail of the plan. And the full implementation detail will be in the original plan. So reference that whenever you need to. In essence, you're having to do a lot more extra like massaging, a lot more prep for your agents to do agentic coding. And to me, while I like that, I waste a whole bunch of time. Why not speed that whole thing up And then why not leverage Cursor's ability to already review your code base? So Cursor has a phenomenal ability to know every single file that's changed, how the process of your code base has evolved over time. Even with PRs and stuff, it does all this crazy diffing in the background. And so now you're taking advantage of Cursor's own tools, which make it super fast. Cursor has their own context management, which also makes it really fast. And we're just seeing the power of that combined. Doing this in Claude Code would take me a very long time because it has to continue to grep through files, has completely blank context. It doesn't have a metadata file storing like your whole tree of what happened to your code base, like 2 changes ago, right? It has to like start fresh. It's completely fresh again. And the tools will keep going and ensure it's automated, but it just takes a longer time. And we're here, like we're very prescriptive. I'm like, I know the feature I want. Here's all the research. Here's all the steps. Let's just keep going in this one chat and just fix the bug and move on till we get to a certain point, and let's like move to the next step, right? So I can open a new chat and I could say, let's go ahead and start with phase 3 now with the blank state. And if I do that with the new chat, Cursor will have all of the history, all of the stuff that we did in the previous chat, right? Because they're looking through the file tree. And so whenever they're looking at a file, they're going to be like, oh, I can make a better decision about how to, implement this because I've seen this change happen over time. And so that's happening under the hood. I don't have to give that information to Cursor. Cursor already knows about it. And that's the difference between Claude Code. Even if you have your own subagent, your subagent has to spend more time to build that context somewhere. And if you forget to do it, it could just start writing new code into different places. And that's kind of the downside of some of these models. I'm not saying that Cursor is going to do this exactly 100% of the time, but that's a bigger advantage of why I'm moving it, into Cursor right now to implement this thing. Because this is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. The second part is going to be being able to use this in a background agent, because I could literally just hand this off to a background agent. And if I understand how this model is working, I gave it 2 rules files. One is my design guidelines, and then 2 was the convex rules. So I can make another one depending on the code that it outputs to say, I want you to do another iteration to make sure we reuse all the code in our code base. So that way we're not rewriting new functions or doing repetitive stuff for these types of things. It already has a really good implementation detail plan as far as leveraging my existing hooks or making new ones. So, there's a lot kind of going on here. So now it should have fixed everything. So let's kind of see Bunix, convex dev. Let's go, fam. So now this is crazy. This is absolutely bonkers to me. All right, let's go. Let me rebuild this page. Go back. All right, let's see what happened now. We should be able to see the stuff being hit down below. And let me just refresh here. Localhost. Oh, I'm going to restart the server. Bonnet dev. Great. Whoops. Okay. Now we're starting. Cool. Now we're back. And I should be able to go here. And this is a massive feature. And we're crashing probably. Yeah, we're still crashing. So what I can do is take a look at the convex logs. Convex. What I can tell it to do is take a look at the convex dev logs and see if we can kind of pull that up. Yeah. So, yeah. It's basically getting the previous transcript, which is super long. Okay. So can you use the convex MCP in the dev environment to take a look at the recent logs here? Because I'm currently crashing. Here's kind of the recent thing I'm seeing in my terminal, and I'm not able to see the entire crash log. And so, whoops, it put it into my terminal because I was focused over here. My bad. So I'm going to put that here, and then I'm going to just copy and paste this over here from this type of thing. Okay. Because I think this is like a 4-hour live stream, but we should be good. Because I don't really know where we're at with this feature. Okay. And go ahead and run it. And just going to go ahead and Control-C this and do this. So hopefully we should be able to use the convex MCP here for this thing. Awesome. It's doing this MCP tool calls. And so these were the fixes that it did about the invalid job ID. And it's going to take a look at some of the errors, and we'll see that. So so far, how much have you used for the maxed cost? So we've used 84%. Holy smokes. That's a lot of files. Man, it just like blew up. Wow. Prompt is too long. Please shorten the prompt. Copy request info. This is crazy. I didn't realize it would go that long. I wonder why. Oh, because of all this other iteration with the code. Wow. I didn't really catch that. I was just kind of flying. Holy smokes. So now it's basically trying to summarize a chat. So it's already doing that for you. So as of now, theoretically, if I already used 1 million token context window, I already pushed above the 200K token context window, and we just ate up like 500K, probably right around here, something like that. Wow. So I think right now it's just saying summarize chat. And oh, you know why? I think because of the MCP tool call. Because I don't know if you know this, for the tool call, see, this is what ate it up. This transcript is a 4-hour live stream. Of course, I chose a 4-hour live stream. And in the tool call, it fed that entire live stream transcript and all this other data into the tool call, which is over like, look at this. I'm still going, by the way. It ate up all of my context. So that's a really good heads up. If your MCP tools, so this is something we learned today. If you have an MCP that does a tool call in your database, and whatever stored in the database has a lot of files like what I have currently, it's like this really large 4-hour live stream with timestamps and all this data, it's going to eat up that context window. And we're seeing that happen first time. We went from 100,000 token context window to almost eating up the whole million just in one prompt because it went through this entire, it did an MCP tool call, and the tool call literally ate my whole thing. That's so sad. It's like, and that's what's kind of, for me, that's kind of what I was a little bit afraid of, is I was going to eat this whole thing. And so what I think could be easier is if I just go to my Convex dashboard and take a look at the logs there and just kind of copy and paste what the logs are saying. That way we won't have like the entire transcript that's in here as far as like what could be going wrong. So I think what we can do is I might just stop this thing because it's still going maybe. And so like originally we were just basically paying, if you were kind of wondering on the cost, I was still at the under 200,000 token context. So I only popped into here because of that mistake with the MCP, and it just like ate up all my context. But this is what we're looking at for for the input and for the output. So this whole thing would have probably cost me, like $30 or something for that request. And I think because I have the ultra plan in the $200 a month, I get basically $400 of credits. So yeah, be careful with what you're working with here, by the way. And this is something that I learned, and I don't want you to get burned just as a result of doing this. So that kind of sucks. So will you compact it or start a new chat? I usually like to start a new chat, but the only reason why I hit this window is because of this stupid thing with the MCP and the like my thing there. So that sucks. Imagine having to worry about context. Bro, seriously, Ray maxed out the content. Now we need 10 million. I think local models with cursor will be better with the right hardware. I'm hoping so. I really do hope that we can do that. But to be honest, Javier, if I'm spending 10K to get the right hardware to run a local model, it's like, I'd rather just use Claude Sonnet, bro. It's much cheaper. How much do you have you used for Max? Yeah, I think that's what's up. How can I get Claude 4 Sonnet 1 million in cursor is a rollout for all users? I think it's, well, if you have the ultra plan, you're going to get like that early access. So that's kind of what's happening right now. I blew up my chat. So I'm going to say, let's see. I'm currently, yeah, okay. I'm going to change this prompt because it's totally, it's too long. Okay. So that's what's up. I think that's what I have to do. I basically just say I can't do this right now because of the way that everything blew up. Hey, how's it going, Samuel, as well? All right. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So if you do an MCP tool call and it has more context window, just beware that your context window will just be eaten up alive just from that type of thing. Sorry. So, okay. I'm currently, I'm going to remove this thing about the MCP because I don't want it to do that again. Here's the kind of what I'm seeing in the terminal, and I'm just going to give it this type of thing. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is just kind of restart this request. And you can see we're back down to 170,000 token context. So I went back into the chat, and that's what's nice about Cursor is it'll trim everything out that happened. If you go back to that chat, everything below, it's just going to go away. So that's really nice because I don't want that rot back into my context. That whole conversation ate up like 800K tokens from that tool call, just that one tool call. That's what I don't want. So now I'm basically having Claude Sonnet with 170,000 tokens go back in and start to see if it can actually do its output here. So I'm really curious to see what happens when I do this type of thing here and I try to load it up in here. So let's see if I can run it, because I want to run it and see if it can capture that error for us. It might freak out, so we'll see. Let's see. Is it gonna? Yeah, it freaks out. So it should catch it here. But I'm wondering if it's just gonna eat the context window. And if it does, we're cooked, fam. We're so cooked. Oh, I think that's what it is. You have to run bun x convex dev. Oh, and I think, okay, so I'm gonna go to the dashboard real quick and see if I can kind of capture the logs. So dashboard.convex.dev, and then see if I can go to the logs and see if I can kind of get that thing going, because that'll probably be the easiest way for me to like give it the logs. Because I think that's what I need to do right now. I need to literally just give it the last couple of logs and say, here's what it's actually saying. And then I need to actually trim out the one that's actually failing. So what's in there is all this information about the transcript for like 4 hours. And that's obviously like almost like 500,000 tokens. And that's not something I need to give LLM right now to go ahead and do. So in the logs, I should be able to see it here, hopefully. So I see this type of error. So this is the error that says, it says transcript by ID public validator or something. And so these are all the logs. So I'm just going to give it that first part here. And then I'm just going to go back to our previous prompt and try again. So I'm going to say I'm currently crashing. Here's the kind of recent thing I'm seeing terminal. And you see, here are the server logs. And then I'm just going to go truncated. So that way the language model knows that it's truncated and it's like not expecting this whole thing here. And then the last part here. Okay, perfect. All right. And I'll just send this again, and then this should be able to kind of reset its state, and we're back here. So looking at this, it says suggest the data structure is being returned from the query doesn't match. I see the issue. The validation error gets stuck here, and cool. Awesome. Oh man, I have to stop off the stream soon. Shoot. Let's see what's going on. Oh man. Okay. 5:48. Okay. I still got like 5 minutes. So I got 5 minutes, chat. Drop your questions in right now before I have to get off the stream. So that way we can kind of cook, because I'm just getting started with this. I'm going to have more this weekend. I'm just going to start building all weekend, and I want to start something that's really cool. I currently have a Discord if you want to hop in there and participate with folks, but I'm going to start to see if I can set up a wait list, because I know some people want to like literally build with me with my stack. So the stack that I'm building with is Convex, Clerk for authentication. I use currently Stripe, but I'm going to change that to Polar. But we're going to use Stripe or Polar. We're going to figure this one out. And so if you're interested in building some AI apps live, if you haven't really nailed down your stack, you're trying too many stuff and you're confused, I have a template that's already started that you can go ahead and get started with. And I'm going to try to see if I can do a small little like mini cohort in the coming weeks. So that'll probably start September 1st, and I'm going to have like a wait list. But let me know in the comments if you're interested. If you're a Discord member, let me know if you're interested as well. The Discord members are going to get a discount to get started with that class. I might even do a dry run with the Discord. And so the Discord links are currently in the description, and you'll be able to kind of join in, because I really like the stack, and building with the stack, it's super debuggable and everything like that. And I feel like we're in this age where we kind of got to move to, I moved off V0, right? This whole app was vibe coded with V0. I graduated from that. I went into Convex. I started using that Clerk. I loved it for authentication. Like this is like a real production app. People are actually signed up and paying me money for this and using this app, which I really do appreciate. And I'm adding features like this left and right. And I mean, you can move pretty fast. And so if you're kind of hanging out with me, you're going to get a lot of that sauce and the things that I've been doing to build with that. So yeah, let's go ahead and catch up some of the questions as well. Let's see. All right, cool. Now available on Claude Code yet? Oh, not available on Claude Code. A few lucky users got it. Ray's testing it using the API, so paying for it. Yeah, I'm testing it using Cursor. So Cursor has the model, and I upgraded to the Ultra plan because I love like using Cursor. And in the Ultra plan, we've seen it's really, really fast. And so what was wrong? The database now contains these editor fixes. Fixed by, okay, so look at that. We still haven't even eaten up that much of the context window. We haven't even crossed the 200,000 mark yet. So we're still playing the regular Claude Sonnet 4 prices. And theoretically, we should be Gucci, fam. So let's see. Okay, let me see. Okay, cool. Kind of here. Hopefully this would be like a big W for us before I get off the stream, because my friends will be here in a couple minutes. And I want to, they're going to be knocking on my window trying to get in and be like, yo, let me in. All right. All right. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. So this is currently running. Let me just restart the app. Bun dev. Cursor is currently running one. Let me kill that one too. Okay. We're localhost 3000. Are we ready for this? Localhost? I don't think I'm ready. Visit page, please. Come on. Come on. All right. All right. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Yes. Okay. Moment of truth. Okay. So we have the transcript. We have this thing here. This is the massive transcript, by the way. We're going to edit. GPT. Okay. Oh, the performance is horrible. Bro. Okay. So I don't know if you can't really see it on the screen, but basically my mouse is like doing the little spinny wheel of death. And I'm like dying right now. Like my mouse is like dying, and I think it's just trying to figure itself out. Oh, it crashed. It crashed Safari. I basically wow, I totally crashed Safari, fam. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. What we've done so far, we've been able to use 1 million token context window to basically get like the first 2 phases of our massive feature plan implemented. So that was like installing all these files, doing all this work all over across the board. You saw how fast Cursor was at going through the plan, iterating us, and then getting us to that first kind of landing part of the page. We got to play a little bit with the UI, but then when I gave it something that basically you saw, it has like 800,000 tokens. That transcript is so long. It's like a 4 or 5 hour live stream. It transcribed it, right? But that transcript's so big that when I'm actually working with this feature, I need to fix this bug so that other people don't have that issue. So this is going to be really interesting. So if you want to tune in this weekend, I'm going to be running a live stream where I'm going to be doing some performance fixes. I used to be an engineer at Apple, so I'm very familiar with debugging like on-device memory stuff and like figuring out these cool memory problems. I've never really done it for the web, so this is going to be a really fun endeavor. I'm going to figure out what dev tools we can use, what type of things we can monitor for performance, and understand like how is the memory being allocated? How is it loading the entire 800,000 token context, actual transcript in memory in the browser? I mean, that's probably what's causing it to crash, right? There should be other methodologies to help us along here. And I'm really confident that Claude Sonnet with the 1 million token context window could possibly be getting us there. And if anyone is watching from Anthropic, or if you know someone from Anthropic over in that Claude code land, please let them know that Ray Fernando would love to test this model. Even at them at X, Twitter, on social media, say, Ray Fernando is doing these testing. He would love to do a comparison side by side in the speed, comparing Cursor and Claude Code, because I'm currently paying $200 a month to Claude. I'm not asking it for free. I'm just asking for access so I can start using it. And I'd love to do a side-by-side this weekend so you can see, but I'm really liking the current workflow inside of Cursor. And it's getting us this far. It's a massive feature that, I'm implementing into my app. And that's going to be that right there. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. This is Ray Fernando. Stay locked in. I got you. Make sure you check out the Discord, rfer.me/Discord, rfer.me/Discord. If you want to get in before the price doubles. It's only $14.99 right now. It's going to keep going up. And then if you're in the Discord, stay tuned for some announcements as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I like you guys so much. I really got to go, and check out the link for the Discord, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.